Welcome to ClickerBait, the Last of Us TV show podcast, where tonight 3 gamers come together to unpack the HBO show, and 3 of us have one thing in common, just one. The Last of Us is our favorite game of all time. Bum, bum, bum. And I'm your host, Jerica. And just a heads up, this episode is going to be spoiler-free from the jump, so if you haven't played the games or don't know what's coming next, continue at your own risk. You've been warned.
Spoiler-filled, not free.
Did I say free? My bad.
You said free.
You. Thank you.
Ain't nothing free around here.
No.
Exactly, brother.
What makes our show different is that we played the game, so I've heard. We've lived the story. We used bricks, threw them at some clickers. We dodged them. We made impossible choices, all by wiping the sweat and maybe a few tears off our controllers. So we're breaking down the show through that lens, what's changed, what hits harder, and what might be coming next. We go live every Monday. That's today, right? Yep, we're here. We're live on twitch.tv/JKGamesPodcast. And if you want to be part of the conversation, please come hang out with us. Like a few of you are today. High Score Weekly has like 3, 4, 5 things he's already said. I love it.
We love to see it.
Yeah, use the code LOL spoiler free. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes I just read the wrong words.
Sometimes talking's hard, brother.
It truly is. This week, though, this episode, man, wonder how we all feel about it, because it's a little bit, it's surprising. I was surprised when I heard initial takes. We didn't go further, but I was a little surprised.
I fear it might be divisive.
Divisive, ain't it? Oh
Ain't
my
it?
God.
Ain't it? That's the only thing I can say.
Ain't it is good.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
But I would say this week's episode had it all. Birthday cakes, a trip to space, a dad who can survive the apocalypse but still can't figure out if his daughter is gay or not. So I could help you, Joel. I truly could. It's birthday season in Jackson, and definitely emotional avoidance is the theme. But before we dive in, let me introduce you to my ClickerBait babies joining me this evening. Kayla, how are you?
Hey, girl. I'm good. I'm crying in the club right now. I don't think I've ever called you girl also, but you know.
I think we need to bring this energy to every podcast going forward. I just feel like I was like Rachel Ray and you're coming down the steps of the audience. Like I've asked you to come on down and help me cook a lasagna. And you're like,
oh
hey,
my
girl.
God. That's so funny. Also, my shadow on the window just scared the absolute shit out of me. Did you guys see that?
Oh, that is scary.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like a skeleton.
I don't think that's
face.
a shadow. I think that's a demon.
That is Joel coming back to haunt me. No, I'm good. I'm excited. I'm glad to be here. I always forget where Jerica wants me to put this, so I'm just going to put it here. Go check out our website if you haven't already. It is new. It is live. Jerica put a lot of hard work and effort into it. It's jkgamespodcast.com. You can find all of our various things there, and you can also find this fun merch there. This is JK Games merch, obviously, but you can also find ClickerBait merch on there. And we only have one ClickerBait episode. Well, maybe 2 ClickerBait episodes.
Maybe
left,
3
so
more.
Maybe
you never
3
know.
episodes
We
left.
might be able to talk a whole lot about this one, especially after next week's episode, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, definitely check us out there. And I'm happy to be here. Very excited to discuss. Even though I know some of your initial thoughts, but no details.
Patrick, you're here, and a treat didn't get you this week. I'm so thankful for that.
Yes, we are.
Hey, girl. Just crying in the club. But for other reasons. Happy to be back. As keen viewers might be able to tell, my camera's a little better. My spirits are a little better. I do have the Daisy costume right here. So if at any point I leave the frame, expect for me to come back wearing yellow.
Amazing.
But yeah. I was good this time. Last week, I didn't have a chance to watch the episode twice. This week, I did. So my thoughts are a little more well-rounded. Excited to talk about it with my 2 favorite people.
Oh, that's so nice.
So kind. So kind. If only you had a Ellie cosplay readily available.
Ooh, sure. Fuck.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's okay. It can be modified.
We got one episode left, so
Would we say it's
Explain.
homophobic that I don't have an Ellie costume ready to go?
Mhm.
Is that
Yeah.
homophobia?
Yes.
Fuck.
Guy,
Yeah, I
you
think
always
so.
have to have one of those ready. Everyone,
Yeah.
let's cut our eyebrows because mine's already grown back, and I'm really sad about it. It wasn't enough hair that you probably couldn't even tell on the other episodes. I had it cut. We all need to
I
do that next
remember.
episode. I think we could.
I
I'll
would
do
do
it. My
it.
beard.
Okay.
Just
Oh, you should.
Oh,
that'd be so
that's
cool.
a good one. Yeah. Doing your
yeah.
hair, actually.
sure. I'm actually. I'm not gonna shave my beard in protest of not having a home until I have a home again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it might be down to here by the time.
Ooh. Be a
We'll
good
see.
luck.
Let's hope not.
We'll see how
Let's
far it
hope not.
goes.
Daisy Duck costume is so funny. The chat's popping. Hello, Rabbit128. Hello, Marl's Bad. Hello, Jake Twitchin. Ye old.
Who up popping they shit right now?
Let's go. I'm ready.
Let's see. Are y'all ready to just get into it?
Let's go. I've heard a little birdie told me that somebody is chomping at the bit, ready to give
Was that a
their hot takes.
I feel like maybe that was more of a cricket. I tried to make a bird sound, but it was kind of a cricket.
I thought it was
You
a
guys-
bird.
You guys didn't know that I'm doing a podcast with two of the best people that are
Yeah, that's a bird. That's
doing
more of a bird.
impressions.
I want to be
Yeah.
able to do that so bad. That is so cool.
Yeah, typically that sound I make is how I do my cricket sound, but I get it's just a different tempo. So
How do you do that?
it's like I'm whistling, but like a different whistle. I'm not doing like a whistle.
Okay.
It's like a behind the teeth whistle. And then can
Is
you do
that
like a
your top?
Chewbacca sound? Can you like do the uvula shake?
I do it incorrectly. Like rolling your R's is more like a gurgle.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
So
from the- It's like my tongue's doing the work.
got it. Sure.
That's
So
all I've
this
been
is
able to
more of
do.
a gurgle. It's like a whistle and a gurgle at the same time.
Gurgle that uvula girl.
Yeah.
That's as good as I can. We'll practice. Maybe we
Yeah.
do that at some point together.
I would
Okay.
love that. A little
High Score
practice
Weekly
sesh.
said the scene between Jarek and Patrick is like when Joel could taught Ellie
We
guitar.
can we can recreate it. I'll put on my Ellie costume. You can be Joel.
That's so funny.
Teach me
Do,
to whistle, Dad, with my teeth.
Do future days on whistle now.
Ooh.
Oh,
Do you want it as the bird or just a whistle?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Not bad.
that didn't suck.
Not bad.
Hey!
Not bad.
She said it, folks.
About to cry. Dad.
I'm crying just thinking about it. Actually,
Good. I want to
God.
bring tears to everybody's eyes.
I can't wait. Jarek.
All right. I'm about to strap in and we're about to recap. Y'all ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Because I just feel like we're just going to cry the whole time. Maybe.
Maybe.
I know I might.
Patrick might have other emotions to release.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe.
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 Who up releasing they shit right now?
Emotions are important this
True.
May Mental Health Month.
It's true.
You're getting rave reviews in the chat. Thank you, everyone.
Whoa, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
I will
not
be
dad,
here all
it's
week.
daddy. Okay. I was so glad to see when the show popped off with a scene that's not in the game.
That's not in the game.
That's not in the game. It wasn't in the game. But we opened with a brand new flashback. Woo, this story loves flashbacks. And as I said, this was not in the game. We see that young Tommy. So it's like Tommy and Joel when they're like kids, children. Maybe Joel's a teenager, maybe. I'm really bad at gauging like how young kids might be. Between the ages of like 5 and 13, they can be any of those numbers.
That's so
in my
funny.
eyes. I don't know. Is that kid 9 or is he 12
if it
or
was-
is he 2, is he 5? I can't tell.
1980, or I think it was specifically 1983.
It was the 83.
Actually,
Okay.
so if we take when did in the show Outbreak Day was
It's probably
in
like
2000,
20,
13.
20 years?
2013
Yeah, 20
Yeah.
years.
minus 1983.
Okay, let's get how old were the kids?
wait.
How old were they in this scene?
Wait, hold on. Ni-
Okay,
Wait,
math.
He was definitely a teenager. Because was
2013
he in his
minus
40s
1983.
at the outbreak, or was he in his? He was in his 40s, I think.
Okay.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
I
No, or
don't
was
know.
he? Maybe he's his 30s. I don't fucking know.
I
I wasn't
whatever.
expected to do math tonight.
Me neither.
Yeah,
And I hate doing math. I didn't mean for us to do it, but I really didn't know how old he was. Okay, so just imagine a young Joel.
Yes.
He's 12,
Teenage.
maybe 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And then Tommy just looks like a baby. Not really, but much younger, obviously, because he's
Yeah,
a younger
he was
brother.
goo-gooing for sure.
Yeah, a lot of hair on him as a baby
mhm.
child, a baby child. But it appears Tommy got ripped off by buying some drugs, so maybe he wasn't that young. But I don't want a toddler buying drugs. But he was
Also
buying
the
some-
80s.
He was buying some drugs. Joel, is pretty urgent to defend him to their dad. He didn't want him to get beat up by him. Found out the dad's a cop. We learned that Joel and Tommy's dad was a cop.
ACAB means Joel's dad. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
He was
that
looking
was-
kind of nice in that uniform.
I do love that actor, Tony Dalton. For people who don't know Better Call Saul, oh, he's so good in that show. He's also in Hawkeye. I didn't necessarily love him in Hawkeye, but him in Better Call Saul is actually worth watching all of Breaking Bad to then get to Better Call Saul just to see him in Better Call Saul. He's that fucking good.
I still have never watched that show, and I just hear nothing but great things. And love Breaking Bad. So
And him especially, he's so fucking good. He's
Okay.
He's the charisma of his character in Better Call Saul. They will be writing about for generations.
Still haven't watched Daredevil either. Apparently, he's in that too.
Oh
right?
my god, it's so good.
He
I don't
is.
remember him in that.
Very
who did
briefly,
he play?
he's playing the same character he plays from Hawkeye. He's this rich fucking
makes sense.
art
yeah,
dealer or something. It's
Yeah.
they're not using him to his best talents in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I
Right.
hate when that
right.
happens. That really sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Oh gosh, we're joined by a special guest.
Whoa, are we?
Shimmer just broke through.
Oh fuck.
Oh
Shimmer
my
wants to know,
god.
where am I? Where is
Oh
Shimmer?
my god.
Shimmer's soul broke through because why would it ask where am I if it's actually here? But we don't know. It's the soul of Shimmer. Shimmer, get on, you gotta get out of here.
Go, Nat, get.
Get. Okay.
I'm so sad.
Sorry that
I
happened.
can't believe the soul of Shimmer just broke through the podcast.
I didn't know we had a brick wall behind that wallpaper, so
Wow.
that's cool.
It didn't
Good to
kill
know.
your computer this time, which is great.
No.
Huge
Huge
upside
W
here.
for ClickerBait.
Huge W. W's in the chat.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, Shimmer just showed up in stream. You can definitely check this out on YouTube or on Twitch, so you can witness what just happened. But no one's hurt, and Shimmer's gone. The soul of Shimmer's gone. We don't know where it's at now. Who knows? It might show back up again. I hope not.
May her sweet soul rest in peace.
I'm sad.
Where
Can
were
I
we?
just say I did not like this scene?
He didn't. Well,
Why? Wait, actually,
So hold-
I already know.
hold your thoughts here for a second.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm
holding.
curious. Hold. So I did like the breakdown of being able to get, just some. I've always wondered how their upbringing was, and it appears that obviously their father was abusive. We never see to what level, but enough to where Joel is gonna do anything to protect Tommy, and basically tells him you're not gonna hurt him. I'm the one that did it. But obviously the dad doesn't believe him. And he's like, I know you did it, Joel. You're just protecting him, blah, 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 blah. But anyways, the conversation sort of ends with the dad sort of sharing that, I might hurt y'all, but at least I don't hurt you as bad as my father hurt me. And apparently he shares a story about his jaw that he got hit by his dad so hard, his jaw was wired shut. And then insists that, their upbringing was never that bad. Okay. Wasn't as bad. At least, you're not, getting your jaw busted. You know what I'm saying? But the last quote that he says, when it's your turn, I hope you do a little bit better than me. So pretty rough parental trauma. But yeah, what did y'all think about knowing more about their upbringing?
I've said on this podcast before The Last of Us on HBO is at its best when I don't know what comes next. But I fear for me that was not true this episode. And this scene for me, like, there were a couple things for me. One, High School Weekly in the chat says, I liked the new morsels and the watch being worn by the dad. Love the watch.
That was a
Love
great
that
addition.
little connective tissue. I didn't notice it my first watch. Notice it on my second. W edition of the watch. But and that tells a story by showing, not telling. And the whole rest of the scene was just telling. And like, I understand that like sometimes it has to be that way. And like for the payoff in the porch scene of him adding that for Ellie, I understand the purpose. It just, for me, for Tony Dalton being such a good actor, I feel like the writing here just did not serve this man's talents personally. Jake Twitch in the chat saying W scene, I fear, probably my favorite edition of the season.
Wow.
Maybe one day I'll see it, but I just, for me, like, here's what I'll say. I was really on board with this episode until I wasn't. So like, I wasn't actively watching this scene and being like, oh, I don't like this scene. But it's one of those things, like, as I've reflected on it, I was like, I just don't really see why we have, loaded word, wasted time in a 7-episode season on that. I don't feel like the juice was worth the squeeze for this scene. But Kayla, what did you think?
I have mostly positive things to say. I was pleasantly surprised that I like when we get lore that we didn't necessarily have before, and I think that was interesting to see. While I don't think you have to have the background of like where Joel came from, I think it's nice to have. I think it's interesting. Yeah. I liked this. I felt like this served more of a purpose. I'm gonna say it than Eugene later. I said it.
Sure. Sure.
But I would have liked, and I'll expand on that later. I have more thoughts to say about that. But I agree. Like, it is, especially when we only have one episode left, I do see how like any time is like precious. But I liked getting to see a little bit about their background, getting to see a little bit about like Joel and Tommy together as brothers. And you get to see more of the generational like run that this family has had, like even in just this little scene, like knowing what his father did to him and how slowly but surely like the parenting is improving. Like, obviously it's not great, like, as we know, but I liked that. And then also I do agree with you, Patrick, though, that do I think it was necessary to have the line at the end and have it be the same line that he tells Ellie? I feel like we could have put that together without having it be so blatant.
Agreed.
And that's something that I've thought like throughout the season. Like, you don't have to be so like clear cut, like remind us every single thing. Like, we can put it together. Like, that's part of why I really liked the watch, is like, I also didn't notice it immediately. And I saw clips later and noticed the watch. So yeah, I did really like it. I like having the background. I was shocked at the cold open with it. I was like, oh my God, we're in Texas in the 80s. What are we about to see? So yeah, I liked it overall.
And
Jerica?
I love the scenes. Yeah, it's more of them being able to just like get some backstory of like why the brothers are the way they are, and maybe some of their relationship, and like, you know, I can't put my finger on it yet. It did seem a little like maybe there was some dialogue changes they could have made to where that last quote from, you know, him just telling Joel that I hope you do better than I do. You know, that was, to your point, we'll get to it later. Like, that could have been not as in our face. Like, you could have maybe rephrased it to where you weren't saying the same thing at the very end. But I do like the message of,
I do too.
You know, this is why, and this sort of sucks because we're getting to the last scene pretty much, and I'll hold it there. But I like the setup it created and the payoff a little bit. But verbatim, I guess it didn't have to be exact. But
yeah, when it's your turn, I hope you do a little bit better than me, is the exact quote. Yeah,
you know, I don't know about y'all. As soon as I saw the flashback here, I was like, now I need the prequel game even more. Not maybe as children, but I was like, oh no, people are going to start asking for a prequel game. Joel and Tommy, we gave him a nugget. Now let's roll with it. But no, like it was a interesting insight into Joel being a protector even as a kid. So,
Yeah.
which even that hasn't changed. Ellie's sort of in the same boat. And even though she didn't have a sibling, she's had people in her life that she's always had to take care of. And now that responsibility of being the cure for all of humanity is, they both have different types of obligations they feel important or their purpose, but both have a lot of responsibility on their shoulders that they have a hard time taking care of themselves, you know?
Yeah.
What this scene did give me, though, I think Gabriel Luna, is that his name? The guy, the Tommy actor? I think he's very good. I would have loved Tony Dalton as Tommy instead of Gabriel Luna.
Yeah.
Because
cool.
he's so good. And yeah, even though I don't think the writing was very good here, I thought he like did the best that he could with it. Personally, but
just like the father being the real,
just like the father.
They thought the same thing. But yeah, pretty strong opening for at least feeling sort of sorry for Joel. And I guess the whole episode sort of shapes it up in a way that, I don't know about y'all, tried to make us feel a little bit bad for Joel. I sort of felt that a little bit because in the next scene, we have, it was 2 months later, I think I had that note correct. We're back in Jackson, or 2 months later from when they arrived in Jackson, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
there we go.
Yes.
Yes.
Just before Ellie's 15th birthday. I think like this is like the day before. But back in Jackson, 2 months after they arrive, Joel is, I put it in the notes, like full dad mode. He's going to Seth, who apparently can bake and supply bones. Did he get the bone from Seth as well? He bartered Legos for
Yes,
cake.
I thought that was sweet because it was for Seth's grandkids too. I thought that was kind of cute.
And there they go, trying to make us see a side of Seth we didn't realize was there. So
because let's all remember that a bigot can be a good person too,
and can be a baker.
Fucking shut up.
So Joel goes home. I put, y'all don't, just like how I pronounced, I'm not going to say her name again this week, but just like I pronounced that, just wait till you hear my description of working on this guitar. Joel goes home and uses the bone to help restore a guitar for Ellie.
Was anyone else so confused? I was like, what does this have to do with the, I was like, what is this? I don't understand. I don't know guitar lore like that.
I forgot to add what that piece was called, but it is like a segment that goes inside the guitar, like on top of it. I'm sure there's a thing. If any music people up in here, maybe you know what that was for. But he like carved the bone down and put it inside the guitar.
Shout out to Blaster Goblin for the sub for 6 months. Love to see it. Sorry, Drew.
After that, we do get like a montage of him working on the guitar, which I loved. I love like when we get to see Joel being crafty, handy. He's a carpenter. Look at him go, etching the moth from Ellie's art. So obviously has a lot of drawings and takes one of those inspirations from one of her designs and etches that into the neck of the guitar. Is that what you call it?
Yes, that is the neck.
See?
Yes,
I knew that.
Me.
And while working on it, you hear Tommy like, Joel, downstairs. And apparently Ellie has had a little bit of an accident, bumped into a hot pot, if I'm not mistaken, and has burned her arm. And then at the same time, like as Joel's meeting them downstairs or they're coming upstairs, like you can tell Ellie is definitely high on painkillers, and it's pretty entertaining just seeing how much she's like, I don't know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. It smelled like pork when I did it. I thought that was funny.
That was disgusting.
Yeah. And then Joel's just basically like, why did you do it? And she shares she just really wanted to wear short sleeves.
Yeah, so, I mean, she pretty quickly says that she did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And the next day...
And it seems, as a really quick interjection, based on how she talks about it, it kind of seems like Tommy is in the know by this point about... Oh, wait, no, never mind. Never mind. Sorry. Joel told him last season. Ignore me.
Which is different from the game.
That's it, yeah.
That's not the game.
That's not the game. The day after Joel gifts her the guitar that he was working on, she meets him downstairs, and there's even a cake that's Seth supplied and had a misspelling. Says happy birthday Eli, which was that was funny. And I don't know if Ellie's still, under the influence of the painkillers, but just fists that cake immediately.
Fisting mentioned.
Fisting. And while she was eating the cake, Joel surprises her with a guitar and makes on his first promise to her, which was, hey, I'm going to teach you how to play the guitar. And we have Joel play and sing Future Days for the first time. We get to finally see it. The episode was like episode 2, but here's Future Days. It happened finally. What'd y'all think?
Patrick, take it away.
I thought the scene overall was good. I thought the birthday bit was cute. I loved the little montage of building the guitar. I liked it when she burns her arm, she comes in and she's like slurring her words because she's on painkillers already. And when he gives it to her, he does that thing where he's like explaining a Dremel and he does that thing where he's rambling. He's like, anyway, and then moves on like that Joelism. So there's a lot here that I liked. I still feel like I agree with Heroic Headgear in the chat. This did not hit nearly as hard for me. And I think this is my general issue with this episode. Like Blaster Goblin earlier was saying, like, anyone tries to fight me that doesn't say this scene is a master or this episode's a masterpiece. I think all the parts of this episode are very good for the most part. There are some things I think aren't that great. I just don't understand why we condensed all of it into one episode. I think it's such a huge miss for me of like, I understand there's probably so many reasons why they did it, like production wise, with Pedro being so busy and have all of his things be together. But I just feel like there is this missing quality from Ellie's story of there's this through line I feel in the game of every few hours we get a Joel flashback. And even though not all of them are good or like happy, it's like a way of working through the grief as the player, but also as Ellie. And I feel like putting it all into one episode just completely kind of changes that for me in a way that I don't like. And I think this scene is one of the biggest examples of that with this episode, where we got a little bit of Future Days last episode and but she couldn't like keep playing it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like, and so now we get to hear and like, oh, okay, that's why she played it that episode. But I don't know. It's the kind of thing where I'm glad we finally got it. I just think this would have worked a lot better 3 episodes ago or 5 episodes ago at the beginning of the season. So while I liked the scene, I just wish it had happened at a different point.
I would have to say it's hard to grapple because I truly wish I could inject myself with some kind of temporary, I don't know, amnesia serum so I could but just forget The Last of Us, like forget that I played the game. So I think that's hindering my ability to see why they're making these changes.
Sure. Because
I've just experienced the story and I've experienced it so much. I can't tell where this is hitting, but I will say this episode, my girlfriend also big Last of Us fan. I already mentioned that. We both have Last of Us tattoos. Big fans over here, not just the clicker baiters right here. She's also a big fan. She has not really been high on any of the episodes.
Sure.
She's got her headphones on. I don't feel like screaming at her right now, but that is correct. She has not really liked any of the episodes. Not a fan, but this one was her favorite.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I think, the fact that I'm also a big fan of this episode too, but also to Patrick's point, like the game had these so well placed in the right points that just really and I don't know if it's just from us playing hours and hours and hours of this game to get the payoff of these moments, because it's a different, I don't know. It's a different. Playing this game was totally different. It's totally different than playing or watching the show, because we're just not in it for as long. I feel like playing The Last of Us Part 2, even though it was my favorite game of all time, it was not it was not an enjoyable situation You know, like it's hard to explain, but like you get to these moments, you're just exhausted, and like maybe the payoff in those moments felt more impactful because of that kind of the way we took in the story for the game. So I'm still on the fence with, I think they might know what they're doing with what I think. I'm more certain now, like surely they're showing us one of the last conversations they ever had, which was at the very end of the game. At the end of season 2, they have to have a situation. They got to have a plan for where this is going next. I'm done rambling now, but I agree. But also, I'm like, I got to be okay. I think I got to separate the game, which I know it's a show on it based on a video game, but what the game's doing is not what the show's doing, and I got to just let it go. I gotta let it go a little bit. I don't
think you do. If you want to let it go, you can.
I think
I don't think you got to.
I think you do, Patrick. I think you do. I think you do.
I don't think so.
Because the game, I don't think you can tell this story for television. The fact that we could really never land on it, not saying that we're writers, I don't think they can replicate the game in show format without it being like 15 episodes a season. I just don't think it's possible.
I don't either, but I don't think that. I think you can still have the integrity is the wrong word. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. the
like stick to
the messaging or the format. The format you cannot have the same because it doesn't make sense. And for cutscenes, I feel like it makes sense. Like, okay, let's put a flashback here because we need a cutscene at this point. Like, there's been enough playing. Like, we have to have a cutscene. So I think there's definitely layout changes that have to happen, but I think you can still protect like the integral pieces, the spine, if you will, of the story. A couple things I really want to call out in the chat because we have a really awesome active chat this afternoon. Deegan said, wouldn't it be that in general, the things won't or shouldn't hit as hard as the first time you experience it? Which is a very good point. Kind of like what Jerica said, things aren't going to hit the same as when you first experience it. And I kind of had that similar relation because like my husband Hunter has played the first game, but has not played the second game. So a lot of these story beats are new to him. And he really enjoyed this last episode. He did say, like, maybe it would have hit differently for him if it was at a different point in the season, but he thought it was really good. And it made a lot of sense.
The overall consensus from people that didn't play the game seems that last night's episode was one of the best episodes ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is fine, but that's not my perspective.
Right. And then some other things. Rabbit128 said Patrick is more bitter in his post-cordyceps tree attack era.
There was a lot of fungus on the tree that almost killed me. This is true.
Oh. And then Marl's Bat also said, I like the flashback spread out. It builds up the tension a bit more with the lead up to why Ellie is so pissed at Joel. So let me give my thoughts. And I think that I really liked this scene in particular. I did like the addition of getting to see Joel's reaction to her burning her arm. Because if I'm correct, we didn't get that in the game. We just kind of like hear them reminiscing on it.
Yeah.
I really liked how like panicked he was about the arm. He called her baby girl again. That got me. But yeah, obviously he's very concerned. He kisses her head. I was like, oh my God. And you can tell they're just so like fresh on being there. And I really liked seeing this. I personally like the way they lay it out with her birthdays. I think it makes sense. I think it's a good, if you're going to do this episode this way, I think the way that they did it was good.
I agree with that.
If you're going to do this, I liked the way they did it. Do I think it's the best way? Not necessarily. Because to me, the overall kind of last thing I'll say on this first scene before we keep going, the overall issue that I have is still rooted in the same issue I've had before, where I don't think Ellie's current reaction in the present day makes enough sense. I don't think she's as, and now I changed my tune, if you'll remember, at the end of the last episode. I think we're starting to see this slow unravel of her emotions and her feelings. And I think this episode kind of tells you why. But I think if you know all of this and see, I think it does kind of explain her feelings a little bit more, but maybe not. I still would expect her feelings to be stronger the way that she is grieving, especially knowing what we get to at the end, that she was in a place to start forgiving him. But that's kind of like my end thoughts on the scene. I liked getting to see her open up about burning herself and
Yeah.
kind of have that moment. But yeah.
Kayla, you shared something too that made me think of like, because this episode's written by Neil, Hallie, and Mark. Is it Mark? Why is his name just leaving? Mark Mazon? Is that his name?
Craig Mazon.
Thank you. I don't know where Mark came from. Thank you.
Mark.
Anyways, like they wrote together this episode, and I will say, like, how you were just talking about like Ellie's reactions to things, and obviously we're seeing what we don't get a lot of her in the game, like right after they arrive at Jackson, so you don't get a lot of that. And I was hoping for more of that in the show. I'm sad that we didn't get it. We got a little bit more in here, but I will say, I feel like the writing for Ellie this episode was the closest to the Ellie I see from the game in this episode. I don't know. Do y'all agree with that? Like, do y'all feel like Ellie's character in particular was closer to the game Ellie, or?
Yeah, I think so. I've not had as much of a problem with Ellie's writing as some people have. But I do, there was a lot of really good Ellie shit in this episode.
Yeah, it was more than I feel like we've had in a good bit this season. So maybe that's why I'm also like super high in this episode, because I feel like this was more like the Ellie that I'm familiar with from the game.
Yeah.
So.
I will say,
I would agree with that.
It's not a writing moment, but in this scene, the Ellie's is a performance moment. Ellie watching Joel play for her, and the like pride and like the happiness that it brings her, I thought was really nice. I think they could have hid the fact that Pedro can't play a guitar a whole lot better than they did. That was bad. But I thought his rendition of the song was very good. Like I think it told the story well. And yeah, I loved there was especially one shot that really stuck with me. The like slow, like very slow zoom linger on her listening to him toward the end of the song, I thought was really, really good.
Yeah. Good Ellie this episode. Good Ellie.
Yeah. Good Ellie.
I agree.
Good Ellie.
I agree.
The next scene, also, that was in the game. All of that was in the game. And that
was the game.
I will say, out of all the scenes, all the previews we got, now I have been the most excited to see the museum. So
yeah,
that was a 10 out of 10. Let me recap it real quick so everyone here is caught up. Hopefully you already have it, but let me just recap real quick. So they go through. This is for her 16th birthday. Yes. Okay. Joel surprises Ellie to take her to an abandoned museum. They get to the iconic T-Rex statue that's right in front of the museum, and we got to see Ellie climb that up. That was just from the game, just like the game. And as they go through the museum, they get to like the space exhibits. And I love the fact that, this was from the game too, like, she starts rotating the planet little setup. I don't know what you call that.
Solarium.
There you go. That.
I think.
And it like rotates the planet. It's like you get to see him rotate around the sun and everything. And she starts cranking it, and he's like, I made sure those were oiled up.
Somebody must have greased it.
Someone must have greased it. And it was just really cool to sort of see that relationship and how much thought he put into this whole exhibit and this experience for her. And then they approach the space shuttle, and of course they proceed to copy the game. I guess I don't remember her breaking when she's like, he's like, you need a helmet before you go inside of the spacecraft. I don't remember her throwing a rock and breaking. Was that in the game? Because I can't remember exactly. Not that it even matters.
I think so, but
I don't know.
I thought
it doesn't matter. It makes me feel better. I'm the only one that just obviously it's not surprising that I don't remember, but I was like,
it felt very game-like, though.
It did. I was like, if anything, if that wasn't in the game, throwing a rock through a window, that's in the game. Can't. Love throwing stuff into the glass.
Quick interjection before you continue, if I may. Breakstew in the chat says, I feel like all the flashbacks from the game should have happened in the same way. Museum lodge with the dead couple. Stopping there because the lodge with the dead couple, I forgot to mention at the beginning when we saw the kid who was Joel, I was like, oh, interesting. We're seeing the couple they're like teenagers, I think, in the game that they come across. It's like, oh, that's cool that we're seeing that, but then it ended up being Joel. But ultimately, yeah, I agree with Breaks too. But sorry, continue.
No. Let's see. But yeah, we get to see Joel and Ellie get inside the spacecraft. And he proceeds to bring out a little mixtape or a cassette tape and says, play it. I don't have all the exact words, but she puts it in and gets to pretend and go on an imaginary takeoff into space. So pulled just directly from the game. I am sad we didn't see her put a little hat on a dinosaur head. That was a missed opportunity. I'm real bummed we didn't get that. But everything else, 10 out of 10 for this scene. I don't know about y'all. It was perfect until Ellie and Joel leave the museum and she takes a look at the fireflies, and then the moment is completely ruined. Not because of the acting. It was just because of the story there. It made me sad. I was like, damn it. We can't be happy for 5 minutes. Can't be happy. Yeah. So how did you think this compared to the game? Was there anything you would have changed?
I thought this scene was so fucking good. But I think High Score Weekly hits the nail on the fucking head in the chat. He says the museum is another good example of them knowing the scene has to be included and recreating it 1-to-1, but just shoving it into the show so it doesn't really make sense contextually, even though the scene itself is amazing. Hits it on the fucking head, and it's my problem with this episode. Is like, this scene is so good.
Yeah.
Basically 1-to-1. The best Joel we've gotten in either season for me. And him in the space shuttle. He's like, oh, did I do okay? And the fucking tear when he turns up is so fucking good. And them doing the close up on Ellie and them talking about it in the post show of the lights and that was like a manual rig is so fucking good. But I feel like it's just like this, like shoving them back to back to back to back to me just is weird. It's like there's like this dissonance happening where it's like, why are we seeing this now? I feel like the connective tissue in the original format where these are memories that are happening for a reason and that they're being are reflecting through her journey while she's grieving and remembering these like beautiful moments or really tough moments of like when she goes to Salt Lake. It's just weird that they're back to back to back to me. It just like doesn't.
They're using it as ammo though for the next episode. That's what's happening. And I know you probably already know this too, but like it feels weird because it doesn't make sense now, but I think it will from the next episode. I think it's a setup for the next episode, like truly trying to, why did Ellie, because we really, back to all the points we've been making this season, like we've been talking about like Ellie doesn't seem like she could kill anybody. She's just doesn't being a dirt. But being able to see in the end of the last episode for viewers only, if they haven't played the game, you really don't. And even for us, we don't see Ellie mad, but I think it's caught up with her now. We got to see why she maybe beat the shit out of Nora. So like with this flashback episode, maybe that's priming us to understand where her head's at in the next episode.
I guess. I
don't know. And I'm not saying that is correct. That's just how that's my scientific reasoning for the structure of the episode.
No, yeah. I guess I feel like they didn't show that though. That like, sure, we see her at the very, very last bit of the episode, but here's what I'll say. If that's their purpose and that's their point, is that after she kills Nora, she's reflecting on all these moments, and we just get a little extra bit that she wasn't a part of. And now she's just filled with rage, sure. But that's not what they showed us. They start the episode in a flashback in Austin, and then we just get flashback after flashback after flashback and end with her getting back. Like, we don't see a moment of her choosing to remember these moments. They're just giving it to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a missing piece here that makes it not fit for me.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I have a few missing pieces myself. I just don't know what goes in there yet, to be honest.
And I think we have some good other opinions in the chat too, but I also think that I think what Patrick's saying also makes sense. I think that's why, like, just like the Last of Us game is divisive, so is the show. People have their opinions, their differences. Oh, sorry. But Blaster Goblin fully disagrees and says, I think that would
excuse
cause
me, if I can correct you, Blaster Goblin is fully wrong. Continue.
I think that would cause a pacing issue for the weekly episode format. All flashbacks in one episode works better for a TV format. Cut 15 minutes of every episode out for a flashback, and this show would flow like horse ass. So we do have other opinions.
I don't agree.
But it's okay because we can all love each other.
Yeah, we can.
But except for Patrick.
I mean, hey, I don't hold the world record for Tony Hawk Shred.
I mean, fair. Exactly.
How does everyone know that except me?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not in the game. I just know I knew Blaster Goblin. We're getting a segue. I knew he played Tony Hawk. I didn't say a world record. Now I feel like an asshole because Blaster Goblin's here and I'm not having him sign any of my content, even though you can't physically sign it. I need to send you a postcard so you can sign it for me. I didn't realize you had a world record. Sorry, listeners, viewers. I went on a tangent. I'm back on it now.
It's so funny.
Any
my quick thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, Jerica. Basically, my quick thoughts were I liked the scene a lot. I think this is probably the scene I liked the most from this episode. I thought it was perfectly done. I agree with Patrick that this was one of the best Joels we've seen in this episode in general, but specifically with this scene. Like the joy that you can feel radiating off of him, that he has successfully made this day for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can just feel the emotions. You can feel the joy. Like exactly what this is meant to do in the game, I feel like it does in the show, where you just take a moment to just take a deep breath. Like it feels like a moment of solace in this world of like destitute, like horrible. I didn't like the Firefly thing at the end, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Because the way that they do it in the game, right? We leave the museum, she jumps in the water, goes across the river or whatever, gets into the other exhibit, and as she's leaving, there's like a note about fireflies on the wall, like when you're lost in the darkness or whatever. Which I feel like ultimately we got to the same point there.
We did, yeah.
But I still think, to your point, Kayla, what you just said of like, it's this nice solace, this nice breath. Wouldn't that have been so nice? Maybe episode, let's say 4, where we just saw some really heinous shit. She sits down, she's thinking, it's like, oh man, this is real tough. And then she's like, I'm going to reminisce and let's have a break from the madness. Yeah. Wouldn't that have been nice, Kayla?
I would agree. Yeah, but I still love it.
I wish I could answer. I still can't answer that. I don't know. Maybe because I'm just a big derp too. I don't know.
I don't think you're a derp. I don't think anybody's a derp.
I didn't say. No. I just don't think. I think I'm truly broken to know if this is good TV or not, because the game's broke me. The game broke me.
Sure.
So I can't really.
Also, we're not TV critics. We're just saying, did we like it or did we like it?
Wondering if it all comes together, will it have the same impact? And I think that's just the problem we're in. Like I'm eager to see how it fits into the next episode. And also, Kayla, you brought up something too that I was going to say, like, it is sort of nice. It was really awesome to see, like, because we know this whole season we've had a bigger, and even the first season, we had such an insight into Joel's psyche and like his grieving and dealing with the ramifications of what he's done at the hospital. Yeah. And him having PTSD and him opening up to Ellie about, like thinking about ending his own life. There's so much more Joel from the show, especially season 1. And with this episode, it was the first time ever that we've got to see Joel, like, to your point, like relax and take a breath and like be happy since everything started, like since the moment he's met Ellie. So, and I thought that made me think of that. So,
and like we got to see like a playful Joel of like, they get there and she's like, he goes, "You like it?" And then she runs up. He's like, "Yeah, she likes it." Like he's kind of he's making jokes. He's having fun. He's like in dad mode. It's the fucking best.
Yeah.
Maybe now that I'm thinking, the biggest thing I wanted from season 2, now I'm getting on a rant, but it makes sense here because we're talking about it. Like maybe season 2 just really needed more of them in Jackson. before the events of the second game happen. Like just seeing them being together and like, yeah, give us extra stuff. More Joel and Ellie before things started breaking further between them. Yeah. I don't know. And to your point, maybe
10 episodes, first 3 episodes is like before whatever we like this whole season some jack. And we get maybe some of this in it too. Like maybe we get the Eugene thing in time instead of as a weird extra flashback in this episode. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah. I have another thought, but this would be when we're just talking about the series as a whole. Just remember, Jerica had a thought. Season 2 as a whole. Maybe this is what happened. Okay. So that's the title. That's the title of that. Let's see if I remember my thought.
Got it.
Okay, we are jumping to another birthday flashback. So the 17th birthday, and I titled this one "Joel Walks In on Gay." I actually didn't put that on there, but I thought this scene was entertaining. Joel barges into Ellie's room with a cake, a birthday cake. Or no, but he didn't barge in, but he was hearing like giggling and some ruckus, and he was like, "What? Who's in Ellie's room? What's going on in there?" And he like goes inside of the room, and is Ellie with a cat. And Ellie's getting her tattoo. Maybe they were also, hooking up, but I think they were in the middle of like getting a tattoo. I don't know.
Oh, they were sounds for sure.
Sounds probably it's very similar sounds, I think. But he like immediately lashes out. Drugs, tattoos, sex, experimenting with girls. Dialogue I didn't expect Joel to say, but maybe there's a place for it. We never really saw this happen in the game. So, and then immediately Ellie like fires back, insisting it's not an experience. Ellie knows who the fuck she is.
Mom.
Have you not picked up on it yet, Joel? Jeez, people knew from the first game. They didn't have to play the Left Behind DLC. They knew Ellie probably likes girls. There's a good chance. That was my 2 cents. The tension gets a little intense, but calms down because Ellie like says, I'm moving to the garage, like grabs the mattress, starts moving stuff. And Joel like softens up and realizes, okay, let me chill out. I don't want to lose her. We've gotten this far. I don't want to break this. And like calms down and like offers to help her move the stuff to the garage, but let's do it another night. And then like awkwardly, I think you said like Patrick earlier, in Joel's own way starts rambling and talking about like the moth tattoo and what does it mean. And Ellie said, the moth tattoo and all the drawings of the moths. And she says, this conversation's not in the game either. And it's just something she's obsessed with moths because it's something that it's supposed to mean something in dreams. I think I got that right.
Yeah.
And this whole scene was the moment where everything was fine. And then immediately their relationship is cracking. So do you feel like this reaction was realistic to Joel's character that we know?
A quick question before we jump in for this scene. You said Joel softening. Speaking of him softening, did we see the way that the light caught his pants as he was leaving the room? Anybody see that?
No.
Anyway, I feel like this scene. I don't know. I'm a bit torn on this one. In that, like, what to your question, Jerica, I. Like when toward the end, was like, maybe it's good for you to have your own space. I couldn't quite figure out if that was him like lashing out and being like, you know what? Maybe it is better for you to have your own space. Now you're gay all of a sudden. Because, and then, his little low key homophobia earlier that day, maybe he's not okay with it. Or if it was him more being like, I'm recognizing that she's starting to pull away. And thus, this is what I think is the best solution to try to keep her as close as I can. I'm kind of in between. I think that the latter is more interesting, but I don't know if that is how he was playing it. Which is good. Like it's cool to think about. It's a good, I guess, a sign of a good actor if I don't fully know his intentions. But ultimately, like I liked a lot of what they did here with this scene, like with the tattoo stuff and him like kind of bringing his guard down and like, telling me about it, that kind of thing. I thought was good.
Yeah. I also think it was really... Oh, go ahead, Jerica.
I was going to say, Kayla, did you like it? Did you not like it?
I liked it. I liked this one. This was a good scene. I liked that we kind of also get a little bit of like why the tattoo's not finished also,
Sure.
because Kat says like, oh yeah, I wasn't done yet. Like it's not done. And also like, why is no one concerned about infection in the apocalypse, bro? You're literally, he's touching this tattoo like it's not fresh open wound. Like
You're absolutely right. Did not consider that.
They don't care. And the same thing with when they got it on and then feed her with dirty fingers and an opened bite. Nobody cares about infection in this literal infection apocalypse. But hey, that's just my 2 cents.
It smells like pork.
Beef jerky mentioned once again.
Like
I smell like beef.
I love that girl.
I
She's so
smell
funny.
like beef.
But yeah, I liked this because I also feel like it's very realistic dad energy to think, like, oh, this imagery is important to my daughter, even though I don't know what it means, like with the moth. And I think we really come full circle with that later. But yeah, I think that there is something to be said about the parallel of like him knowing Ellie, but not really knowing her as far as like with her sexuality, because even like, it's like there's still, even though they're having this moment of bonding and like moment together, there still is a distance there because, and I mean, maybe it is like past like ingrained homophobia like lingering, but we didn't mention the part where he was like, oh, like you and Jesse, right, you're into each other.
And she's like,
I got a good eye for this sort of thing. She's like, I don't think you do. That was
and then
you, buddy.
But it also, I could be misreading that. It could just be him trying to hold on to her childhood, like wonder that he hopes is there, and like thinking she's growing up too fast, and that she's like making rash decisions.
I mean,
that's not really how she
kissing
feels.
girls instead of kissing boys can be seen as a little like, oh wow, now you were drinking, now you're smoking pot. You know, it's just a little wilder than what some dads might be used to. And that was, just me joking, but I do think like the time frame that Joel maybe got to experience, like obviously our political climate now might be, going backwards a little bit, but we rewind a little bit, maybe 5-10 years ago, like the world's in a better spot than it was in the 80s and the 90s when it comes to being more open if you are in love with girls, as another woman. So I don't know, Joel just might not have had this experience, that development or that conversation before the outbreak. And I'm sure we talked about this on the show at some point too, but like how even Dina's talking about, not being comfortable and like her mom, like shunning her for it. And, maybe that world they just didn't get to experience at all, where it was a little bit more open and comfortable to talk about it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So maybe not out of that kind of, I didn't see him coming from like a homophobic feeling from it, but really just like, man, you're going off the deep end now, kissing girls. Kissing boys would have been bad, but now you're kissing girls. That's wild. That's too much now. You're doing pot instead of drinking, or you're doing cocaine. I don't know the extremes with drugs here. Cocaine's really bad. So maybe I don't compare it to cocaine.
The levels.
But it's a little wilder than what he expected. That's outside of scope for him. So did that make sense?
It does. It really does. Yeah. I think it could just be the like, no dad wants to talk to their daughter about any of this anyway. So
it's already escalated to a point he cannot relate with. So that's probably pretty awkward. So, and then we cut to Joel, troubled about what moths actually mean, decides to interrupt Gail while she's trying to chill out, having breakfast or something. She's reading a
moths
book.
Gay stuff.
Yeah. And like, hey, what do moths mean, Gail? And Gail just looks totally like, what the hell? I'm just trying to read a book. What, Joel? Basically. And like, he's like, hey, do you ever know anybody, or do you ever like research, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like dream specialists. You know any dream specialists in your line of work? Basically asking like, what do moths mean in dreams? And she's just like, no, I think those people are loony anyways. But what I've heard was that moths mean death. So
Yeah.
I think it's clear that, Ellie is starting to like connect the dots, obviously, and sort of always known, but really seeing truth to Joel's lies and what's actually happening. So like, obviously their relationship is starting to break. And I think this is like Joel's like last ditch effort to like try to fix something, and like just trying to learn about moths and dreams is so random to me. Like this whole dialogue is very strange.
This scene is when, for me, I started to take a turn on this episode, like officially. Of like, okay, it's very clear by this point we're just doing flashbacks, other than the final 3.5 seconds. But I was like, because this part of the reason I started to get frustrated with this scene is like, I feel like also they're missing the point with like her infatuation with moths is how moths are they go to the light, which is what fireflies do. When you're lost in the darkness, look for the light. Like that I felt was always the clear connection between moths, Ellie, and fireflies. And now they're just like, oh yeah, no, death. And it's like, I was like, what is this? We're missing the point. And also this scene is not moving forward any sort of character development or plot, because it doesn't come back again like that. This one for me felt like, what are we doing here? Like this, Kayla, what did you think?
I feel like they were trying too hard to bring Gale back. For one thing. Like, I think like I because I remember, what's so funny is like my husband Hunter, he was like, after one of the scenes with when they left Jackson, he was like, what was the point of the therapist? Like, he was like, were we never going to see her again? And you thought wrong. She came back. But no, I didn't. Part of it kind of bothered me because I do think that the moth imagery is one of those things that we've been saying over and over again is more like you just know, you understand because it's part of the imagery of the show and the message that it's trying to say. And this might just be one of those things that we've kind of mentioned throughout the season / episode, is that they're just really trying to tell us something. And I think, but on the flip side, I do kind of like the clear misunderstanding of the meaning of how Joel sees it versus how Ellie sees it, which is kind of like the whole point of The Last of Us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like the different view.
Yeah.
But I actually did show, I have a tattoo of a butterfly with a moth face on it to resemble life and death, because I find that very interesting. Yeah.
There you have it.
Not for the show, but just because I like it. But I didn't mind it necessarily. I think I see what was trying to happen. Did it necessarily like super land for me? No. Do I think it took away from something else they could have done? Probably. But I do see the how important this is to Ellie enough to have like invested a lot of her time. I mean, they show her drawings and like everything that she has with it on there, and then Joel to like misunderstand it, but to want to understand it because clearly he's going to Gale to like try to figure this out.
Sure. Yeah.
So
it's just because he knows what's wrong with her. Come on.
Yeah.
Y'all just need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, they definitely don't talk anymore. Well, they talk a little bit, but the dialogue's very limited. I was going to jump ahead and talk about Ellie's 19th birthday present that she receives from Joel. Do y'all have any other thoughts on this last bit?
I can't not add the fact that the book that Gale was reading was very intentional. The Earth Abides.
I didn't even pay attention.
Huh. And I actually clocked this before I listened to the podcast, the HBO podcast, because they do bring it up in the HBO podcast with Craig and Neil and all of them. But the book actually inspired partially the first season or the game of the first Last of Us game. It is about the apocalypse. It is about the Earth like post like infection in a way. And the main character's name is actually Ish, which I think is like Ish, which is a tie into like a character in like just a minor side character that's mentioned, I think, in Ellie's journals only.
And yeah, the first game, when you go into the sewers, there's a lot of like environmental storytelling. And if you look at everything, there's like this whole arc that you can read, that you can put together of Ish's story and what happened in these sewers, and him like going out and be like, oh, I see some people that I think maybe I could get to come in the sewers, and then like you see they've all been died,
yeah.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
In the first game.
And anyway, that was all I had to add. Of course, I had to mention the book because I do now want to read the book because that intrigues me.
So we get another flash forward. I think this might be the last flash forward. No. Yes. No. We get one more after this. I take that back.
This is 2 years from the last.
Yeah. So this is 2 years later. This is Ellie's 19th birthday. So this is up to the point we're pretty familiar with in the game. Ellie is 19 in the second game. Ellie's up early practicing, like actually talking to. There's no one there in the stool, but she's practicing like bringing up Salt Lake to Joel. She's basically like written down all these questions that helps Joel explain what he shared, and it contradicts everything. So it's gonna be setting Joel up to be honest with her. She's practicing and she stops as soon as she hears a knock on the door, and Joel is there saying, "Hey, what about for your 19th birthday? We finally go on patrol." So he takes her on her first patrol. And it's pretty funny because she's like just eager to like, how many infected have been killed on their first or who's killed the most infected on their first patrol. And Joel's like, that doesn't matter. We're taking the easy route. Just basically shutting her down for any exciting action she's wanting on this patrol. And then the awkward conversation while they're on horseback continues, basically just saying like, Joel's like, is this nice? Isn't this nice? We should do this more often.
Dad.
Total dad talk. And Ellie's just like, yeah. And he's basically like, something wrong. And before they can even go further, and it definitely wasn't going anywhere. These two do not communicate well. And the radio, someone goes over the radio and says, hey, Eugene and Adam are being attacked by the infected. They're trying to hold them off. Can y'all get over there? And basically, like, Joel's like trying to send Ellie home, but she's like, no. And something like, I'm not your kid, I'm your partner, or something like that. I'm getting that line wrong, but it's close enough.
No, I think that was right. Yeah.
They get on the scene, rush to Eugene, or I guess Adam died. He was being pulled by his horse, but they do find yeah, that was rough.
I was like, oh.
That was rough. And they find Eugene though, hold up near a tree. His side has been bit all over. Just got a few bites here on near his chest. Little gnarly bite. R.I.P. And basically just sort of begging for his life. And Joel is just like so quick to just kill him on the spot because those are the rules, Eugene continues to like beg, just let him go say goodbye to Gail. He has time, and then Ellie's trying to persuade Joel that, hey, I think he might ask him to count to 10. He seems lucid enough. It might be okay. Let's tie him up and bring him back. So Joel's like, okay, go get the horses. But we know Joel's going to kill Eugene. We know it. We know it's about to happen. So he walks him like in a direction that looks a little questionable. And then as soon as you see the shore to this beautiful lake, it's a beautiful view. Yeah, Eugene knows, like, he's brought me over here to kill me. And Eugene, and this part it got me a little bit. It was sad because Joel's like, Eugene's just like, please let me, I just want to talk to her. I just want to say goodbye. And Joel proceeds to say, just if you love them so much, you can see them, you can picture them. And he says he sees Gail one last time, and Joel pulls the trigger. And then Ellie shows up. Ellie already knows what's gone down. You can't fool Ellie. You can't. And when they get back, I love how quick I enjoyed so much watching Ellie because Joel's like tells Gail and Tommy basically what happened, lies. And then Ellie's like, not this time, motherfucker. You lied. That's not what happened. And Gail hears the truth and proceeds to slap Joel. And Ellie's like, pretty much we're done, and walks away. So I do see the plot here was maybe to create a parallel to Joel lying. I don't know. How did y'all feel about this subplot? Was it necessary? I know Kayla said maybe it wasn't. I can't remember if it was this scene or not. But what do you think this was necessary to have a parallel to? Was it meaningful?
I think it was meaningful. but I don't think it was necessary. I think
Okay.
it was done, but it kind of was necessary though for the way they're doing this because there had to be like a breaking point for Ellie where she needed to call him out. Like I think the way that they did it because they start this scene with her hyping herself up, which I really liked that part. I liked her like you can tell this is eating her alive.
And she's nervous to bring it up to him because I think she's seen what he can do, right? When he is cornered. Like, I can see where she's a little bit nervous to do that too. So,
yeah. And Heroic Edgar said a good crisp slap, which I agree. That
it was a good
really
slap.
Right. And yeah, High School Weekly was some good points too. Like, this is how the show is setting it up. But I liked the before part where she's like confronting herself with the questions that she has and trying to hype herself up because like she knows. And I feel just like the weight of like, she knows, she knows, Joel knows, she knows, everyone knows, but they're not communicating it. And so like, I feel this heavy dynamic and like, that's what I do like about this episode being the way it is I feel like it does lend itself to almost like the anxiety throughout the whole episode that you can kind of tell like it's leading in the direction of this break because it's
a build up, right?
Yeah, you do know in the present day. And I think you could have achieved this a different way. Like I'm not saying that this was like the way I would have recommended doing it, but I do think the format does lend itself to this. Like you're going through the years of the birthdays, through Ellie's life, through their life together, and you're constantly reminded of there's the joy, but there's also this looming like doom of like what's to come. And finally, Ellie's kind of like to the point where she's ready. And in the beginning, like when she's going through the questions, it's not super angry. Like it's at this point, she's more like talking it through. And then what you experience with Eugene is like she sees the unjust, what she feels is unjust once again, which is funny because like Joel's following the rules and I'm like, when has this man ever followed the rules before? It's interesting. But that's kind of the side point. But
if she was like on the fence at all, like this situation's what solidified. Oh hell no. Yeah, he definitely lied.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I just don't know that this moment was worth all the changes they had to make for this to make sense. Like I don't, I feel like they had to do a lot of maneuvering to get to this, and I'm sure more will come that to like causes the restructure. But I didn't. It's not my least favorite thing that has been done, but I don't think it was necessary. Like I think they could have structured it differently to have to avoid this altogether. But I don't know. I did kind of roll my eyes a little bit when Ellie called him out in front of all of them. I was like, okay.
Bad. It was bad.
I liked it. I enjoyed that scene so much because it was just really, I think it was just cool to see Ellie just finally like
address it.
That was the last straw for her at this point. And like,
she was great, I think.
Yeah.
It was just everything else about that moment I fucking hated.
And I wonder like I just wonder how much of the story, and it seems like from this whole episode and just the build up to, we just been talking about Eugene so much and, Gail being a big part of the show.
Yeah.
And then we get like 5 minutes with Eugene and it feels like the whole show was like pivotal in this moment. It's strange.
It was very silly. So if I may, yes. I loved this scene until we got back to Jackson. I
would agree with that.
I thought the 5 minutes of Joey Pants was fucking great. I thought the like kind of slowly kind of coming around on his face and seeing him, for him it was, I don't need her to have my last words, I want her last words.
I loved that.
Fucking great. Him like, oh, I could see her now. We cut way back, no sound, we just know that he took the shot because we see the birds fly. Like there was a lot of really good shit here. But I don't buy that Ellie put it together because of this I promise bullshit. Like, I think it would have been so much more interesting to have the conversation she tries to have with him, or like she's like role playing, like comes to him with the questions. If we're going to change it, if she's not going to Seattle, because in the if she's not going to Salt Lake, because in the podcast we're like, oh, well, our show is just so much more grounded. It wouldn't necessarily make sense for us to go to Salt Lake. It's like, motherfucker, you got from Wyoming to Seattle in 4.5 minutes with Dina. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, have her just go to Salt Lake, go to the hospital and do it. Have her find the fucking shit inside the hospital and have the scene there. This weird, like, adding in Eugene for this. I think you keep the Eugene shit as it is and remove the lie. I think it's a cool addition. I love this expanding on the character. This, like, she finally gets to go out on patrol, and the first time she goes on patrol, they have to fucking kill a member of Jackson. Like, oh, that sucks. But I don't know. I did not buy that him saying, I promise, and then breaking the promise, because, like, sure, she did the hand test, but, like, who's to say that was even accurate? Because she did it, but she's immune. So, like, of course the hand wasn't shaken because it never shook for her because she was immune the whole time. So it's like, it very easily could have been that by the time she got back there, he was fucking turning and had to be shot. It's just like they're expecting these leaps of logic that for me just, it fucking pissed me off, as you can tell.
Your feelings are valid. First of all,
you.
Let's be clear. But I definitely stand by the fact that this wasn't her finding out that he lied. This was her finally addressing the fact that she knows he's lied this whole time, and she's finally fed up with the lies. I think that it was
sure, and like Blaster Goblin in the chat is like, why would she not put that together if she was rehearsing? I understand that. Like she this whole time has expected that he's lying. Yes. For me, it didn't click that, because like if you listen to them talk about it, they're like, him saying I promise and then breaking the promise was just like at the end of season 1 when he said I swear. It's like, no, that's not, like, you're even reconveying your message wrong. It's like, it's to what you're saying, Kayla. She's just fed up with this, and this is like the last straw, sure. But I don't know, this whole like I promise for the way that they show us and tell us in the post credits is that is what finally was enough for her to confront him. And then I don't know, the whole like the scene in Jackson of, it's like the first time in 2 seasons I've been like, this is bad acting from Pedro Pascal. He's like, oh yeah, he shot himself, he took his own life, and he was brave, and he told you he wanted to say he loved you. It's like, this all is just feeling if I'm Gail, I know he's lying by the way he's delivering it, but she's like crying him and hugging him, and it's just like, I don't know, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about a couple episodes ago of like, because of the changes that are being made. To be clear, I'm not opposed to changes, but these changes that they're making, they're having to now like move things and rewrite things and change things. And I feel like it's just like Band-Aid after Band-Aid of trying to get out of the changes that they're making. And then things just don't hit as well for me, when it's like, if you just did it mostly how it's fucking written, then it'd be hitting great, I think. But I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
No, I get it. I think what could have maybe happened to make it better was cutting the line where it's like, I could tell by the way you looked that that's the same way you lied as you lied before. Right. I think if you would have cut that little like snippet, it would have probably made people not feel as strongly about it. But like, because I think that I felt like it was definitely like, oh, okay, like she finally reached her breaking point, but not as much like, oh, I just noticed the way you lied was the same. Like, I don't know, like,
there was something that they mentioned in the podcast that made me laugh, that originally she has a Matrix poster up, but she couldn't do that because Joey Pants is on the Matrix poster, which I thought was very funny. Awesome. Which is very funny.
So funny. They should have done that though. That would have been
that would have been fine.
Yeah, that was actually really
too
funny.
Seriously now.
Why couldn't Eugene have been an actor?
Wow.
Pre-pandemic.
Perfect.
I love that we have such dynamic duality in the chat of Blaster Goblin absolutely loving this episode.
I would expect that from the gamers who love The Last of Us, so it makes sense.
Yes. And then we have Marl's Bad and Breakstew, who fully side with Patrick on all of this.
My people.
But also, I don't feel like any of us drastically disagree, except I would like to hear Jerica. Did you say how you feel about this section? Did you say?
I feel like I did. I liked it. Yeah.
Maybe I missed it.
No, and I think y'all recapped it and shared my thoughts too. So I just, I was just curious about, it just felt forced being
Yeah.
sort of strangled
You did
to
say
the
that.
Eugene stuff. So, anywho, any
Anywho.
hoodles. The next bit, we finally get to the porch scene.
The
Finally,
porch.
it's here. We didn't know if we were going to get it now or at the end of the next season. We didn't really know for sure. So we
did, as a quick interjection, before the porch scene, we got the dance from Joel's perspective.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Which-
Okay, great. Just make sure. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah. On New Year's Eve, we actually get to see Joel's perspective of the dance, which was pretty cool because like we don't have that in the game at all.
That's true.
And it's sort of neat to sort of see like what was Joel doing before Dina and Ellie started kissing. So like being able to like see Joel sit down with Tommy and Maria, and I keep forgetting little Henry. His name's not Henry. I forget, but
I don't know his name.
Tommy goes and takes him to bed because he's getting sleepy, and then like Maria and Joel have like a little bit of a moment, even though Joel might be rough around the edges. Basically, like you're still family. I'm sorry I called you a refugee. Like, and that's sort of like the situation that they're in. Just sort of like forget your family. So I like that scene a lot. I feel like we don't have enough Maria in season 2. I want more Maria.
For sure.
Maybe
I also like
Mr.
Tommy's
Daddy.
like see you next year of like, which we now know is the last thing he ever says to Joel. It's like that thing of like having that context makes that hit harder.
Yeah. Uncle Grumpy was funny.
Uncle
I like
Grumpy
that.
was very good.
That was good.
So we see the scene again play out. Seth, calling out Ellie and Dina, saying it's a family event. And then the push happens again. We get to see that. I love watching Joel push Seth in every universe. It's great. And Ellie tells Joel that, doesn't need her help. We know this, rinse and repeat. But what's different, we get to see what happens further. Because we just thought it was just Joel hanging out on the porch, drinking his coffee next to his little heater. The little heater makes me think of any Southern dad. It's nice. I don't know if there's any, I might not just be a Southern thing, but I just see a little radiator. But I think my granddad, honestly, like in the garage with an extra heater, even though he's got the garage door up. It's just like, I don't know. I know you like to be outside when it's cold, but I don't do that. It just reminds me of old dads and granddads. Anyways, Joel's on his porch playing the guitar, and we get to see Ellie approach and then go through the garage. But we get an extended cut and we see that she comes back. And this is where the conversation differs a little bit from the game, slightly. And if I miss any differences, like y'all bring it up. But they talk, and finally that was another breaking point for Ellie, and just really wants to know, like, what happened? Tell me what happened when you saw the fireflies. Like, explain this to me, Joel. I really want to know. And obviously Joel, like before this, was like trying to talk to her, like, so Dina, she'd be lucky to have you, blah, blah, blah. Do you like her? And like basically trying to talk and be open with Ellie. But she's like to the point. I need to know about Seattle, or I need to know about Salt Lake. She asks about Salt Lake. He confesses everything. And then Ellie's just basically pretty similar from the game, pretty identical. You took that from me. You took it from everyone. That was my purpose. And Joel responds, they would have killed you. Yes. And I'll pay the price because you're going to turn away from me. And then Ellie calls him selfish. That's selfish. And then Joel's like, well, I would do it all over again because I'm not selfish. I love you in a way that you couldn't understand. I love this change so much. I do like the difference here. Some people might not, but I love seeing him share the love he has for Ellie, being a parent, echoing his father in the beginning of the episode. That could be yay or nay. I don't care if that was connected. I like that line changing. Anyways, just Joel being able to talk through and him crying at the same time. Whew, that got me. But and then he proceeds to say, like, if you were to ever have one of your own, well, then I hope you do a little bit better than me. And then Ellie replies, I don't think I can forgive you, but I like to try. So the big scene's here. What did y'all take away from it? Did you like it, love it? We'll keep it easy.
It was a roller coaster for me because when he's riffing and he's playing that like same exact music from the scene in the game, I'm like, we can't be fucking getting this right now. There's no fucking way we're getting this right now. And then she walks by and is like, oh, interesting. We're gonna we see it from his perspective, but we're still not getting the whole scene. That's a fun choice. And then she walks back up and they start having the scene. I'm like, how the fuck are we doing this right now? And so my first time watching it, I was just like in disbelief that it was happening. And so I was like, if you're in our Discord right afterward, I went to the Discord. I was like, I'm fucking pissed because this whole scene watching it, I was having like an out of body experience. Like, how are they getting this so wrong? I rewatch it. The scene is great. I think the performances are great. I agree with you, Jerica. I like the additions of Joel with like actually fully admitting things, and I really don't like the line that connects it to his dad, but I like that it's a little bit more kind of vulnerable in ways, not in every way, compared to the game. But I still really I don't know, in the podcast, they're talking about how they're like, we were worried that this wouldn't have the same payoff in 2 years. I'm like, motherfucker, you can't make a choice of this magnitude out of fucking fear. Like, stand on your fucking ground and tell the story. Like, you know what I mean? Like and someone put that in the Discord of like a more of a long snippet. I'm like, that is, I think, from my perspective, the worst fucking reasoning of like, I'm afraid the audience won't get the payoff. Fucking grow up. Trust that your audience is fucking smart. I know people these days are fucking idiots, but when you tell a good enough story, people get it. And I think I'm very interested to see how we go from here and because I also, after watching it a second time, I wonder if we're still going to get a little bit more of the scene at the end of the show, because we don't. So the scene in the show ends, but I want to try. And he looks at her like, oh shit, maybe I get a second chance. And then it ends. But in the game, there's, she's like, I want to try. And he's like, I really like that. And then she she starts to go and she goes, all right, I'll see you around. And he's holding back tears and he says, yep. And then that's when it ends and it cuts back to the present day. And so so maybe we get that, which I think would be great, because I do really love that little bit that they cut from the show. But I don't know. So I'm very torn on this scene because I think the performances are great. I really love the changes. It sucks that it is very possible that we never see Joel again in the show. Because we got everything. Every Joel story beat is now done. Yeah. And that sucks.
It doesn't seem like it would make sense to not have him have any involvement in the third season, but maybe that's what they do. I don't know. It's hard for me to say what I think. Yeah. I loved the scene.
Good.
I will say, I loved it. But I do understand and I do get it. And I do think maybe it would be better to have it somewhere else. Some Rokeger said, I enjoy frustrated and angry Patrick.
Oh, I'm so
but yeah, I think that there's definitely Pedro's Instagram today did seem like he was done with the show. I agree. Yeah. But anyways, all that to say, it got me. It did what it was supposed to do. I was bawling on the floor like a baby. I was shooketh. So much so that I couldn't even go back and watch it again, because to me, I think the absolute raw emotion that both of these actors are able to portray in this scene is so good. I think both of their acting is so good.
Hers especially.
Scene. Both of them, yeah. Hers, definitely very strong, able to evict that. Not your hair, really just having a moment. That's so funny.
And her really quick, she starts crying and rubs away the tear. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. And just his voice when he says, I love you, confession at a fucking church. Yeah.
Crying. It was just, I don't know. Yeah. It just, I can't place the emotion I had with him saying those things. Because it got me. Yeah.
I just the way that, I mean, and I think maybe they achieved part of what they were trying to do, because this whole time, throughout this whole episode, Ellie's like, I'm not your kid. I'm not your kid. I'm not your kid. I'm not your kid. And he's like, I love you. Like, you are more than my kid. Like you're like, this is like bigger than that. Yeah. And he's just like sobbing. And I love that he's like, even though she's asking him the question, first of all, part of me thought he was not going to be honest at first again, and that would piss me off. But like, he doesn't even answer her. He just nods.
He can't say it. He still can't talk say to her, you know?
But he still stands on business saying, I would do it again. And I think obviously like that's very important. But I just love the way that they portrayed this so much. And I do think, because I did share in our Discord, if you're not in our Discord, you definitely should join. We do like live like discussions like during the episode, after the episode. And we share like tidbits after. I shared a TikTok that was the like parallel, like exact, like the scene from the game and the scene from the show, like next to each other. And I feel like the emotion is able to come through even more in the show. I think like obviously the emotional impact of where it is placed in the game brings that energy, I think. But I think it matches for me, it satisfies me in the way of how they portrayed the scene enough to where I'm not quite as mad about where it's placed.
Sure.
But
I don't know.
I see both sides though.
I just feel like there is such a strong experience that I think could have happened in the show too, of until that moment, right? I mean, there's 15 seconds after this scene is done in the game of Ellie just leaving because she goes to her house. You know, we all know the scene. We've played the game. And I feel like the confirmation in the game of, throughout this entire story, they did reconcile a little bit. And like there was going to be, Ellie was ready to take a step forward and like, I'll see you around. Let's see how we can make this work because I love you so fucking much. Even though you betrayed me to my fucking core, you've still given me so much good with the museum and the guitar and all of these things that I feel like that moment speaks so much at the end of the story of like, it just hits like a fucking sack of bricks when she's lost she can't even play guitar anymore because she's lost her fingers. She's lost Dina and JJ. Her house is empty. And then you have this like, of course she went like she did everything that she did because the night before he was murdered, they finally got to talk and they finally came to an understanding about the mistakes he made and that she was still willing to try to forgive him. I feel like now, like with that already being done, I'm just so curious to see what is the final beat of the show because now we like that arc for Ellie is now done. Like, and we still have a whole season.
I see what you mean.
You see what I mean? Like, it's just, that's why I'm so fired up about it. And like, I understand people like I said, I watched it a second time and I loved it the second time as a scene. But within I don't know. I'm just like, is there a new moment? I don't know.
I'm bringing up what I asked y'all to remember last time. It just makes sense here.
Like,
you think when did we know they were going to go to season 2? And how much was this actually written before they said they started on season 2? Because it just doesn't feel like something doesn't line up where they feel like this feels rushed. I mean, I'll say the same thing. Like, I'm a big fan of Arcane. Arcane's a totally different situation because it's fully animated and it's like the best anime show of all time. But clearly season 2 is rushed and everything's crammed in there to the point where you just don't get breaks in between scenes. And I'm feeling very similar to that, where I love the shit out of this show and I love the content, I love the story, but it's just something's out of pace. And I don't know what the solve is. You both brought up good points that they could maybe adjust to put these scenes are great, but they're just in the wrong spot. So like, was there something in terms of production that forced them to only do 7 episodes? I just wonder if there was, I don't know. I haven't listened to podcast at all for this season, just other than what y'all are shared. I'm going to go back and listen to when all the episodes are out. I didn't listen to the post credit behind the scenes this episode either. And not that they would probably tell us, but surely at this point, like, we know that they're capable. I think season 1 was not perfect, but it was definitely
it was fucking great.
They summarized the whole game in one season.
Yeah.
And I'd like to compare like hours, like has this been longer or was season 1 longer? I don't know.
Season 1 definitely longer for sure.
Season 1,
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, there was 9 episodes. I think.
So what was the deal here? There had to have been something because this doesn't feel. Yeah, to your point, like unless this next episode pays off and they knew what they were doing, but we'll see. It just seems like they scrambled a little bit.
And I agree, because like all of us at some point in ClickerBait season 2 have said, there's no way we get a full flashback episode because there's only 7 episodes, or like not necessarily a flashback, but like the Bill and Frank episode, a one-off, and that's what we just got was a one-off of flashbacks. Granted, they were actual bits for the most part from the game that were just but it's like because based on the next week on The Last of Us, we're getting to the end of Ellie's first arc. Like we're getting to the end of the theater.
That wasn't in the game, by the way. I saw things that were not in the game.
Let's discuss next steps. Jerica, just your quick thoughts. Did you like did you like the porch scene? Did you enjoy
Loved it? Nailed it.
You loved it.
I love the emotion. I love Joel. I love Pedro crying his ass off. And then I think it was just the best Joel and Ellie scene we have had. This whole episode was the best. I've always wanted more of them interacting. I'd love to see more of Ellie and Dina interacting.
It's too bad we're never going to see Ellie and Joel again, probably.
But that's like the game. We never saw them again. Just in flashbacks, so that matches. They just spread out the flashbacks a little bit more, you know?
Sure. Imagine being not even halfway through the game and we're done seeing Joel flashbacks.
Can you imagine halfway through the game and you're having to play the person that killed Joel?
Yeah.
Sure.
Imagine that.
Imagine. maybe we'll imagine. Maybe this is our punishment. Maybe that's our Abby for the show. This is the thing that's going to make everyone mad. They're like, well, I don't know if this is going to land the way that Abby made the gamers mad in the game. So maybe we do this in a way that they will hate us even more with how they do Joel and put scenes. I don't know. I'm just making a joke. Well, regardless, I like this scene. I can't wait to see how it wraps up. Does it have a pretty bow on the end or on top next episode? I have no idea.
My official prediction is that next week is going to be called You Wasted It. The episode.
That's a good one. I think
there's a name out, allegedly.
Oh, the last, I think 3 have all been fake outs.
Shoot. Yeah. When it first came out last night, like it was just episode 6. Didn't even have a title. I don't know if y'all noticed that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Someone did.
At one point, this episode was called Scars, I believe, on the internet. In hindsight, it's like, there's no wolves, scars. Those are terrible episode names.
I agree. I would love to go back. We definitely need to do almost like a revisit to our initial predictions. I think that would be really fun to go back and actually. I did say
we'd get the porch scene. I think
you did. I think you did.
I did.
Which is fucking heinous. I cannot believe you're right.
I was sort of right, but I wasn't completely right because I thought it would be the last scene of the season. I think the end on that moment would be a good. Once again, I'm not right, or I don't know, but I could see I could just see them doing it. They're doing it. They're getting halfway through the second game.
From your lips to fucking Neil Druckmann's ears, Jerica, you're not a writer, and you said it was going to be this season. Yeah. What does that say about this fucking show?
I guess it's not good. Definitely. I guess it's not. I would have done a lot of stuff differently in Arcane too. You should definitely listen to that episode because they messed up a lot of stuff too, and they are pretty good.
Yeah,
we can't get everything we want. We can't get everything we want from the show. It's too much.
You can't always get what you want.
Whatever.
So, anywho, did y'all watch the previews for the next episode? Did y'all notice that scene that I don't remember in the game? I don't remember Ellie getting caught by the Seraphites. being sort of captured like that. Is she
Oh,
about
I
to
don't remember seeing that in the preview. I need to go back and watch it.
It's in the preview because I was like, I paused it because I was like, ooh, maybe that's Abby, and are we getting that for some reason? Doesn't make
That's
any
what
sense.
I thought too.
But once again, things don't make sense in this show. They've been showing
guess
it.
I'll have to watch it
Obviously,
again.
we just talked about it. But yeah, it's Ellie. Ellie's captured by the Seraphites.
Okay.
Interesting.
I don't know how they're going to time. There's a lot moving around for Ellie this episode.
Did it say next on The Last of Us or coming soon?
It said 1 episode left.
That's true.
How they always do that kind of shit.
A couple things from the chat. Marlsbad said there was way too many Seraphite people in the trailer for the next episode, for it being the last episode.
Yeah, they're not supposed to be until like near the end of the second game too, and I hated that whole. If you want to get me on a soapbox, fucking Seraphite bullshit and drama with the WLL, we spent too much on that. Them fighting,
yeah.
Still, it took away from the show and the game. So
I agree. Yeah. Rabbit said maybe season 3 is actually from Seth's POV. Good call.
Fucking damn it!
Good call. And then High School Weekly said, yeah, they're setting up the Abby Lev stuff.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think that scene is Ellie. It's not Abby.
We'll only see Abby this time. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ellie's captured by the Seraphite, so we're not going to get the iconic scene of Abby being strung up. That doesn't happen.
Not yet. We can't happen yet.
I think they tricked us because it's actually Ellie in the scene that gets caught by him.
Marlsbad said she needs to kill 2 people and a dog still.
Oof, rip.
And where the fuck is Shimmer? Oh, shit.
Where's Shimmer?
Oh, my God.
Here she comes. Here she comes.
Oh, my God.
Shimmer didn't die this season. If we have 1 episode left, if Shimmer does not die, I'm making a shirt and profiting off this damn horse. I'm making a shirt.
Should. Speaking of shirts,
if
you should
Shimmer,
buy one now.
if Shimmer survives, there's no shirt. So
yeah, incredible.
Okay.
So bestie.
Final predictions for the next episode, last episode, season finale.
Do we get to where Ellie kills everybody? And then a few other people get a bullet to the face? Is that happening all in one episode?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we see the boat go to the aquarium. We see Jesse running up the aisle of the theater. So he's getting fucking blown in the face. We're seeing we're getting these story. We're gonna end it on Abby. We're gonna think Tommy's dead all season or all off season, and she's gonna say, "Gave you fucking shit, or I let you live and you fucking wasted it." But that's how we're gonna end it. I don't know how we're gonna get there because, like you said, apparently there's a new scene with some Seraphites, but I think we will end the first half of the game at the end of this season.
I'm not throwing any shade, and I'm not trying to be like, you're calling me a dirt Patrick. I'm making a joke on it, but I'm gonna be honest. That's how I think the season's gonna end too. So who's to say? I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
We said that, but I think that's how it's gonna end too.
Yeah, for sure. It has to.
So is it 2 on the head though? If I'm thinking that, is it 2 on the head?
No. I don't think so because context is important. That's where we are.
I'm scared.
We're at the end of day 2 now, so all that's left is day 3, and day 3 for Ellie is very short in the game. There's really not a whole lot there. You go through the Seraphite bit, and there's like the plane or whatever it is, like maybe it's like a train, and there's like a sniper up top. Like there's that bit, and then you have the boat bit, and
there's too much.
So that but
there's so much left. I don't understand it. But Blaster Goblin,
Sorry. I think it's gonna be 50 minutes though. So I feel like that might.
This last one was 50.
Okay, so maybe that's what I read on accident. Regardless, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. What did Blaster say?
Blaster Goblin, aka Tony Hawk world record holder, said maybe that preview scene is a fake out.
Doubt it.
Could be.
There's no need to fake. I think that's good Abby content for next season though. But once again,
I think we've done enough fake outs though at this point.
Yeah, they can't fake us out no more. I think they can only fake out so many times.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be on the nose. They're riding like Jericho now, so y'all better brace for impact because if anyone's dying, it's Shimmer.
Sure.
Okay? This horse is dying. This horse.
Oh my God.
You think it's Jesse that's gonna get shot? The horse busting through there finally, like, someone ride me into the farm. I need to go home, and the horse gets shot. Blocks the shot.
Someone ride Shimmer till Shimmer busts is what I'm hearing you say.
Oh no.
Protects Jesse. Shimmer takes the bullet for Jesse. That's what's going to happen.
her hero arc. Aww.
Yeah, finally.
I love that.
Justice for Shimmer. No,
Pretty
I don't
good.
want justice. I'm ready for that horse to die. Okay.
I mean,
Official Shimmer prediction. Shimmer makes it back post Seattle. They have Shimmer. We just haven't seen her. Shimmer gets killed in Santa Monica
Oh.
by the Rattlers. Official prediction.
Okay. Yeah. Damn, they get all the way to Santa Barbara? What
Santa
the
Barbara.
hell?
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh my god.
No. Sorry. Well, let me be clear. Not next episode. That'll be in season 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No.
Got it,
No
got
Santa
it,
Barbara next episode. I swear to God, if we get fucking Santa Barbara next episode, Heroic Headgear is gonna get a lot of pissed off Patty.
That's
I
so
think
funny.
that would push me over the edge too.
That would be really bad.
That would just be you're just asking
no
to
way.
not have a season 3 at that point.
Yeah.
I would
know,
bet $10,000 US we don't get Ellie and Santa Barbara next episode.
That's a good one. I'm
Yeah.
I'm scared to put up any bets at this point though.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'm excited to talk about it with you guys next week.
Me too. All right, everybody. Well, you're going to want to be in this chat for the next episode. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you.
So please join us next Monday. We're going to be in here at 8:30 Central Time. That's the right time zone, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for
Very
I'm just
good.
double checking. We'd love for you to be here. I'm sure we'll have another poll. I'm sure we'll have something going on where we can just discuss the last episode of season 2 with all of you. Any last words before we end the show? I'm not going to end your life. I promise. We're ending just the show.
I wish I was happy.
Oh, I am very sad, but not for the same reasons that Patrick is, but because that was a sad episode.
Sure. Yeah. No, I not about my life. I just wish I liked this episode more.
Oh,
Yeah. I've
Well,
talked
I
enough
did.
about how depressed I am from my house and life being destroyed. I'm just talking about The Last of Us tonight.
as we should. But no, I'm looking forward. I'm cautiously looking forward to the next episode.
Yes.
That's my last words.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next time. We'll see you next time. Hopefully the horse dies. Hopefully Shimmer's dead by the next time we see y'all.